This is a book review of Conan The Hour of the Dragon from Marvel Comics by Roy Thomas, Gil Kane and John Buscema, and of course vast numbers of other people who inked, colours, etc. And it's an unusual book, this one, because it's actually available in obviously omnibus editions, obviously I assume in epic collections soon enough. But what it does, it's the entire story of The Hour of the Dragon, all in colour. See, originally it was in colour and some black and white. But what they've done, Michael Keller, who did the restoration, brilliant restoration, has also done some colouring as well of the work. And what does it collect? Well, it collects Marvel reprints, of course, of Giant-Sized Conan 1 to 4, Savage Sword of Conan 8 to 10, and Conan the Barbarian 4 to 5. And what does it feature? Conan. Now, this is R.E. Howard's only novel that he wrote, though it never got published. But there's a bit of a history of it at the front where, obviously it's been published subsequently, but obviously not in his lifetime. That all fell through. It was serialised in Weird Tales. Books came out. Conan the Conqueror. And of course Marvel came out with this. But they spread it over quite a few years. So like it was 1974 it started, finished in 1979. So there was quite a few gaps between. But brilliant introduction by Roy Thomas as ever. So this... So fairly recent, came out March in 2019. And if you've got the omnibus editions, you've got the other volume as well, the colour ones, then you probably, the Savage Sword ones, you may not want this because, of course, it's got the story in those. But however, I think this is great because it's just all one continuous story. And it's a brilliant story. It's got the usual things where you've got basically a magician from 3,000 years before Conan, and they bring him back to life, and there's this lovely heart that's involved in the story. And that's the wizard, the heart, and the kings are all central to this story. But there's some great characters along the way. And also he meets Zenobia. I assume that's how you say it. And also the wizard is Exalto. I can never say no. I would be hopeless back in that age. I would have been like him. How do you say your name? As he blasted me into non-existence for not knowing his name. However, some great scenes all the way through. Lots of battles, conflicts. Obviously, Conan is king at the start of the book. But, of course, he loses it. And then we've got the story of where he goes off on various adventures, has problem after problem after problem. But as, of course, with Conan, he battles through and is amazing, as ever. I love these Conan books. It's just brilliant. Now, they do, obviously, there's a similarity. So if you think, oh, read one, you've read them all. There is an element of that. However, I still think that they're brilliant stories. I just love that whole brilliant Conan sword and sorcery stuff. Cull, everything like that. But this is a great book. I love the recolouring as well. There's some recolouring of a Savage Sword. This is the big difference. You've got Savage Sword of Conan, the omnibus editions. You've obviously got the stories, but in this case, you've got the actual colours. And it's brilliant by Michael Keller. Superb. And also you've got brilliant bits of vampire story there, and also lots of priests. You've always got to have temples involved, lots of again, more conflicts, more wars, more battles, and just brilliant. Absolute classic tale. That's an absolute masterpiece. Totally brilliant. It's one of those books you can read fairly quickly because it's fairly short. It's only 280 odd pages. It's a story that you can probably run through in a couple of hours, but still, what a brilliant story. And it also, not only that, the story, you've got The Hour of the Dragon, which doesn't really make much sense, personally, the title. Conan the Conqueror, or Conan the I'm going to get my throne back kind of thing. Hell, or what's his name, I'm going to get it. Would have been a better title. Bit long, but it's brilliant. But also, not only that, you've got a little bit of the end where you've got a bit more of the story afterwards. And that's just great as well. I love that. Just added those extra bits of story. Makes the whole book really amazing. And you've also got a little bit of extras at the back. You've got a map of, obviously, the time of the Empire of Acheron, circa 13,000 BC. no less. Now, it's not a very good map. You would be lost if you were using this map. You just got a few Zamora, etc. There must have been a lot of places inside that, but there's nothing here. Weirdly, the only place that doesn't give a name particularly has the only actual city that's listed here, which is odd. Then you've got a lovely plot. I love these things where they put the plot. Plots are always great, just so you can read what, and you think to yourself, how would you, if you were going to draw this out? Obviously, Gil Kane would have, Buscema, how they did it, obviously it was amazing. But you can still look at it and think, this is great. This is telling you, sort of, you think, well, I would do this, I would have this panel. I'm certain my version would be nothing like this. But it's just brilliant. I love that, those plots. And that's what's the back. So there's a few extras, not a vast amount. And Conan the Unconquered. This is a collective word from both writer and editor. And an advert for Morbius and Lilith. Some biographies at the back. Of course, now two of the, obviously, Gil Kane and John Buscema both sadly have died. But Roy Thomas is continuing on producing brilliant work as ever. Just superb, superb, superb. And of course, an alter ego magazine that he brings out is a gem of a magazine. So, Conan the Conqueror. I've got Conan the Conqueror at the back. But Conan, the Hour of the Dragon. Brilliant. Totally brilliant book.